It says I'm live. We're coming in hot. This is not AI. This really is your girl live with Shonda Pratt. So excited to be here. I'm streaming now to two platforms, to YouTube and to my LinkedIn audience. As you're coming in, say hello to me so I know that technology is working, that everything is good, and I don't have any problems. So just excuse me as I double check technology because I have trust issues. And I want to make sure that you all get the content because it's going to be an interesting conversation. I see that we have one person who's here. Hello, thank you so much. I see more people who are coming in. Thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being here. Again, if you can see me, just give me a thumbs up or give me some love on the screen so that way I know that I'm tracking and that we don't have any problems with the video because I have a lot to say and I was prepared for this. So I'm doing 25 days of visibility live right here on your screen. And we're kicking off day one talking about why your expertise isn't enough. It is not. And I'm going to share with you why it is not enough. Okay. So I'm just checking with my LinkedIn people. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. If you know another leader, CEO, founder, please invite them to this conversation. I think they will find it most helpful and beneficial. Okay, it looks like we're tracking. We're doing great. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, I'm Shonda Pratt, and I am committed to what I like to call LiveMas. You know, Christmas, live, merging the two things together. And 25 days, I am going live every morning at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, talking about visibility and how you can be seen, heard, and paid. Yes, because your visibility is power. And so let's get right into the conversation because I want to be a good steward of your time. And today we're talking about why your expertise isn't enough. Now, we're going to have some real talk here, and I know it's going to be really difficult and challenging to have this conversation because for so many years, I've even said it, we've always talked about you have to tell people about your expertise. You have to show people that you're an expert. You have to embrace that you're an expert, blah, 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 blah. How many of y'all have heard that? Expertise, expert, your authority, all of those things that now really have become sort of like buzzwords, but they're very important. And I know if you're like me, especially if you're here, you've spent decades building your expertise. You have the credentials, you have the results, you have done the work, and you have the track record. And yet, someone who is less qualified than you keeps getting the opportunities. They keep getting the speaking engagements. They keep getting invited to boards. They get media features. And why is that happening? Because there is a gap. If you're watching this live or in the replay, I want you to put hashtag gap. There is a gap between competence and visibility. Let me say that again. There is a gap between competence and visibility. And so today we're going to name the thing. We're going to understand it, and we're going to start closing that gap. Because what I know to be true about even me building my own visibility online and coming back online, doing the thing that really helped to build my credibility and my expertise, which is what I'm doing right now with live video, is that we have a hidden expert problem. And I need you to understand, friends, that being the best kept secret, let me lean in here, is the best kept lie. Let me say that again. Being the best kept secret is the best kept lie. So as you all are coming in, Nathalie, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining in the conversation. Glad that you were here. All of you who are watching this live and watching this in the replay. So I want you to imagine with me a person, we'll call her Sarah. That's not her real name. But Sarah is a senior VP at a Fortune 500 tech company, right? 20 years experience. She's built 3 divisions from the ground up. Her teams have the highest retention rates in the company. I mean, she is that girl. When there's a crisis, leadership makes sure to call on Sarah. But when a CEO position opened up, they hired someone from the outside of the company. How many of y'all have experienced that? Someone with half of Sarah's experience, expertise, but 3 times her LinkedIn following and a TED Talk. Sarah, rightfully so, had a conversation with me and was really frustrated because she said, I thought my work would speak for itself. I thought my work would speak for itself. And here's what I told her, and here's what I'm telling you today. Your work rather, can't speak for itself because your work doesn't have a mouth. Let me say that again. Your work can't speak for itself because your work doesn't have a mouth. It doesn't. We do work, and I see this especially with the women that I get to work with, that people will recognize that. People will see that. I don't have to talk about myself. It feels braggy. It feels like I'm being arrogant. It feels like ego. But there are 3 parts in this gap. Remember, we talked about closing the gap, and there are 3 things that you may be doing in those examples that I just gave that are continuing to have you as a hidden expert. And there's a gap between what you know and what people know about you. You can do a quick assessment of this. I think I was reading a LinkedIn post of someone recently, and they were talking about the very thing I'm sharing with you today, is that they know a person who's known them for X amount of years and was having a conversation with someone who knew them a short amount of time. And the person could not communicate or articulate who they really are. One of the things I do, this is a quick bonus. You will have some homework after this. But one of the things I tell my clients to do all the time, and you can do this, it's very simple. Survey your audience. Tell people that you're joining me for 25 days of visibility and ask people using one word how they would describe you. And then go back and read those comments. You can do this on social, or you can send a text to your business besties. But then you go back and look at the words that people use to describe you and see if you are in a gap or they're nailing exactly who you are. Because the gap that I'm about to share with you has 3 parts. The first part is the assumption gap. You assume people see your expertise because you're living it every day. But they're not in the room where you are solving the problem. They don't see the strategy sessions. They don't see the late night pivots. They don't even see the wins that you deliver. All they see is your LinkedIn profile from 2019 and a headshot that doesn't even match who you are today. Listen, let's go ahead and clean that up, update the headshot, and update your LinkedIn presence. You're welcome. So you're assuming people know who you are because you live this every day. Wouldn't it be obvious what I do? No, it isn't. And when people are confused people do nothing. And so to eliminate the confusion, I have to get rid of assumption and tell people who I am. The second gap is the articulation gap. You can do the work at an elite level, but can you talk about what you do in a way that makes people lean in and say, I need to work with this person? Most leaders, most executives can't, because you have been taught to be humble. Let the results speak for themselves, to not brag. But meanwhile, your competition is here telling their story, whether it's true or not. My favorite Native American proverb says, those that tell the stories rule the world. So you have people who are dominating in a world, telling a story, and it may not even be real. And people are seeing that and buying into that. And so we have to learn how to get rid of the assumptions of what we think people know about us. Number 2, we have to take the time to articulate the work that you do. It's like the old saying, what does it say? A closed mouth doesn't get fed. It doesn't. So you have to be willing to tell people exactly what you do and be okay with doing that. You know, one of my favorite examples of this is Jesus. Now, whether you believe in the Bible or not, I think this is a great example of looking at Jesus' life and looking at a leader who didn't have a problem with telling people he's the way, the truth, and the life. I am that I am, right? And so we have to be okay, not bragging, but being okay with telling people who we are. Because are you ready for this? To not tell people that you are the solution, to not tell people who are expressing what their pain is, what their need is, and you have the answer, that, my friend, is arrogance, not the opposite. Because you would just assume, oh, they'll figure it out. Or, someone else will tell them. No. Why leave your narrative up to someone else to tell them? Number 3, the other gap, the amplification gap. Even if you're doing great work, right, and talking about it, if no one hears it, it doesn't really matter. So you're posting on LinkedIn once a quarter. That's not going to cut it. You're declining good podcast interviews because you're too busy. You're keeping your expertise locked in client meetings and internal presentations, and then you wonder why you're overlooked. Here's the truth. Here's another truth bomb. Competence without visibility is a waste of your calling. It's a waste. And I don't know about you. Well, I think I know about you, because if you're here watching this live or watching in the replay, I would say that you're a person who wants to leave legacy, that you want your life to matter, that you want to live your purpose out loud and big. And so if that is the case, and especially if you are here, that means you understand that you don't have time to waste. You understand that you can't waste your life because it has so much significance and it has so much value. So you didn't build this expertise to stay hidden. It's almost like what I tell my new authors. You wrote a book not to stay on your bookshelf, but to be on my bookshelf and your bookshelf that's watching this live and in the replay. You didn't build your expertise to stay hidden. You built it to make an impact. But that impact requires reach, and reach requires visibility. So what do we do with this? Right? We've closed the gap. We've identified. And I want you, as I'm talking, to identify your area where there may be a gap, and then thinking about, okay, how can we shift it? And it starts with a mindset shift. Everything when it comes to visibility is an inside out job. You have to do the inner work in order to have what I believe the outward performance. So you have to shift from my work speaks for itself to I speak for my work. You are the only person, my friend, who can tell your story with all the nuances and all the context and the authority it deserves. You are the only person that can do that. So when you stay silent, you leave interpretation to other people. And I'm going to tell you, they will get it wrong. For a long time, when I talked about being a storyteller strategist and building this brand online, for a very long time, people thought that I post on social media for other people. People thought I was a social media manager. Wrong. I post my social, not someone else. But what I will do is help you work on a visibility plan so you can utilize social media to build your visibility, right? That's not their fault. The people who interpret it wrong, it's me, because that means that I need to do a better job at closing the gap. So when you stay silent, you leave interpretation to other people. They're going to get it wrong every time. I've worked in television news for 20 years. And one of the things that I've learned working in TV is the story goes to whoever tells it best, not whoever lived it best. A quote I read one time says, great stories are given to those who can tell them. I know it's not fair, but it's the reality. So you have a choice. Option 1, you can keep doing excellent work in your industry and remain obsolete in obscurity and hope someone notices you. Hope someone sees you and notices you. Or option two, do excellent work and strategically position yourself as the go-to authority in your space. As the go-to authority in your space. And if you're here, I will dare say, you are choosing option two. That's a good option. So over the next 25 days of us being live together, I'm going to walk you through my visibility compass framework. And this same framework is what I use with CEOs, founders, and executives to go from hidden expert to a go-to authority. So number one, just like you would have a compass, north is clarity. Who are you talking to and what transformation do you offer? Who are you talking to and what transformation do you offer? South, content, right? What frameworks, stories, and insights position you as the authority? What is that? Your story is yours and it separates you from everything. You want to be different from everybody else? Your story. That's what separates you from everyone else. That's what makes you different, telling your story. East, community, right? Who needs to see you, hear you, and advocate for you, my friend? And they're out there waiting for you. West, this one's going to trip some of you up. Consistency. How do you show up in a way that's sustainable and not performative? You know, performative is what burned out a lot of us, me included, right? And so we're showing up in a way that's sustainable. For me, it's showing up and committing to the next 25 days because my team challenged me. And what works is 8:30 a.m. Eastern, right? The replay is there, so you always catch the replay. And if you have questions, I always go back and look at the questions as well. So we're going to go through these and go deeper into this compass in our next 25 days to get together. But I want to start with your day one assignment. Yeah, you have an assignment. If you're here investing your time, you have an assignment. So I always like to ask questions. That's probably some of my journalist background. But I think questions give us an opportunity to be reflective and really think. So, and you can drop your answers in the comments. I want you to think about these three questions. Number one, what do I want to be known for in 2025? What do I want to be known for? In 2026. We're already in 2025. In 2026, what do I want to be known for, right? Not what you are known for, but what do you want to be known for? There's a difference. And I want you to know, and I want to give you permission that you can pivot, that you can change this. You totally don't have to be the same. You can change. Two, who needs to see me as the go-to expert in my space? And I want you to think specifically, like your industry, your role, your platforms. Who needs to see me as the go-to expert in my space? Three, what's one thing I've been avoiding because I'm waiting to be ready? Listen, you just have to just do it. Seriously, you just have to do it. We're wondering if we need to get the great lights. I'm thinking about people who need to be on video. All of these bells and whistles. But if you have a smartphone and not a dumb phone, you can literally start today. Today. So what's the one thing I've been avoiding because I'm waiting to be ready? I'm waiting to post on LinkedIn. Why? This is a prime opportunity to be on the platform. It's 1 billion people who have accounts on LinkedIn, but only, I think I saw 1 to 10% are posting. That's a great opportunity, right? A speaking opportunity, your byline in a magazine. What are you waiting for? So what's the one thing you've been avoiding because you're waiting to be ready? I would love for you to put those in the chat, and I would love to see how you respond. So let me take a moment here and just take a breath and look at the comments. Oh, Nathalie, you are totally engaging. Love that you are here. Yes, love that you are sharing. You must tell people you are the solution. That is right. That is right. You must tell people that you're the solution because people are looking for solutions. All right, put those in the comments and I'll make sure to check back and check those out. So Here's what I know about you. You didn't stumble into your expertise. You built it, and you built it on purpose. If you're like me, through late nights, hard decisions, and relentless commitment to excellence and becoming 10% better every single day. But you're probably at a crossroads. You can't keep doing what you've been doing, delivering results that only the people in the room see and no one else. Or you can decide that this year you're stepping into your visible leadership, where your expertise doesn't just impact the clients you have, but the thousands of people who need what you know. Do you realize there's someone right now who is praying for the solution that you are? Let me say that again. There is someone right now who is praying for the solution that you are. They're praying for it. Visibility is power, but it's our visibility and his power. And if God gave you this expertise, this experience, this calling, don't you think he wants you to steward it by letting people see it? He does. So tomorrow, we're tackling the 3 lies keeping you hidden. Yes, 3 lies that are keeping leaders hidden. And I want you not to just come by yourself, but I want you to bring